everybody. Welcome. Once again, I'm going to cut this, but I'm going to...
Oh, the preamble?
Always forget to pull this up.
Or we hold these truths to be self-evident.
Yeah. Ask not what you can do for your Fiona. Wait, no, that's wrong. Hold on. Ask not what Fiona can do for you. Ask what you can do for Fiona.
That is the weirdest accent impression of Kennedy I've ever heard.
Marilyn, get over here and give me that sloppy toppy.
My back is bad. Missionary again.
I'm very sick. Did you know John Kennedy was like the sickest man? Was like Monty Burns level sick. Like through his whole life.
6-part PBS docuseries. Gosh, who am I? Oliver Glenn? We're talking about PBS. 6-part PBS docuseries that came out. I don't know when it came out, but I watched it last year. That just discussed obviously the amount of chronic pain he is experiencing, but also the level of narcotic cocktail he was on.
Yeah, man. It's like
and dude liked to fuck too. I don't know if you knew that, Walker.
He did. He loved to fuck and get shot up with
I
pain
love
medication.
pussy.
Yeah. Not my wife's, but everyone else's.
Not my wife, Natalie Portman. Oh, wait, it's not 2016. He also did, I think what's cool about John F. Kennedy is he was, Daddy got him his ticket in a lot of ways. Daddy was not as successful, first of all. Dad was kind of a Irish bum who hit the jackpot in a lot of ways. But John F. Kennedy was, in my opinion, a war hero. Which I think, a lot of times, like Bush Sr. even, there's a lot of debate about how much what he did in World War II. I land on the side that he was a very brave man. But
Kennedy or Bush Sr.?
Bush Sr.
Okay. There's a lot of questions about
there is a lot of questions.
Bush Sr.'s service, but
there is there is. And there's a lot of questions about JFK. I think JFK's is more clear that he was a brave man who fought without any sort of like golden ticket to put him to the front of the line of. He fought to be in the war, more or less.
Sure.
Anyway, go ahead.
Was he ever captured at any point during World War II?
No, but their submarine was hit, and he and a group of 20 men that became dwindled down to like 8 men, eaten by sharks,
mm-hmm.
And he was rescued. So, he was on, and that was a period of like 6 days. Now, that in itself doesn't inherently make you a hero, but I'm going to be a little bit more inclined to be led by somebody that managed to survive in the Pacific Ocean, being surrounded by man-eating sharks, than I am somebody who punched their ticket through Yale through dad's oil success.
Sure. Now, you do raise an interesting question, though, because I do agree with you that being eaten by a shark does not automatically make you a hero.
Or seeing someone your buddy be eaten by a shark.
Sure. But I mean, would you say also, though, the soldiers whose names we don't know who were on that submarine who were eaten by sharks, they're war heroes, are they not? Died for their country, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But being eaten by a shark, it really is about the context that makes it heroic or not. Because if just being eaten by a shark makes you a hero, then that naked hippie girl
eaten by a shark, though.
But you're saying that his buddies were. Yeah, right. And I'm talking about them.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'm saying if just being eaten by a shark makes you a hero, then that naked hippie girl at the beginning of Jaws is as much a hero as everyone who died in World War II.
Well, she's a hero for her acting chops. I mean, have you seen the behind the scenes? She was a decathlete or like Olympian, because what she's doing, it's not even, this was the 70s, but even then they knew, hey, it's probably not wise to tie strings to somebody's ankle and pull on them. Mm-hmm. So they got an Olympic level swimmer who could throw her body, bob it up and down in like 40 feet of water. Do you have like the core strength that requires? So there's nothing else interacting with that actor.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, if you watch that scene and what she's doing in terms of conveying horror, and we don't like to objectify women on this podcast, but I may have watched that scene quite a bit as a young boy.
Well, I was gonna say it's so funny because when you're a kid, you were like, were you watching the athleticism? And I'm like, no, because when I saw that movie as a kid, it's just you can see that she's naked, but you can't see any real nudity.
Yeah, she's
but
Spielberg naked.
But it's like when you're a kid, you're like, maybe I can will this into like being able to see a nipple or like pubic hair or like you're just like, how hard do I have to squint to make something that isn't there appear?
Right. On our
now,
VHS
do you think she's
copy.
a hero because she was the first victim of Jaws? Like is just blazing
I
that
don't know.
trail?
I don't know that she's the first victim of Jaws.
Well, she's the first victim in Amity of Jaws.
Yeah, well, maybe Jaws, though. I mean, maybe he had gone up and down the coast. Well, of Amity, though, like you said. Okay, yeah, sure.
Now, I want to say also about this World War II thing that you're talking about. Imagine, dude, you're in World War II. You're like, we're fighting the Japanese.
Imagine.
We're fighting the damn Krauts. Now I'm in the water, and we're also at war with sharks.
Yeah,
like, that's
or
the
an oil
true
slick.
axis of evil right there. Or an oil slick.
Oh, dude, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's like such a brutal way to die. So many... Because actually, Winston Churchill has this amazing quote that he said, to paraphrase. I mean, Winston Churchill, an amazing quote. You could fill several novellas with those. But he basically said something to like, I never truly worried about losing the war more than I did about the German U-boats. And the German U-boats were their submarines because they were just destroying the English. Right. And the United Kingdom or England, it's on an island. So their level of import and their goods, they're greatly dependent on, outside forces and trade and so forth. And even though the German U-boats were, 1 to 100 in terms of the ratio of what they had, they were just demolishing the English. And there is, in my opinion, in a world war where there's so many fantastically creative ways to have made people suffer. And I'm just talking about the war, by the way, folks. I'm not talking about civilian deaths. It just I mean, there's no place I'd rather be less, than a submarine. Or I think on a sinking ship in the Atlantic. I don't know.
You could not pay me to get on a submarine in any context whatsoever.
No, and the Nazis were not concerned with comfort of their soldiers. They were concerned with efficiency. So those things were stripped to their bare essentials.
Yeah, they were Nazi concerned about the comfort of their... Zach, did you know that the Winston Churchill quote about, we will fight them on the beaches? He's actually... People think he's talking about the Axis powers, but he's actually talking about sharks. He knew that was the real war. It's like we got to get them to come out to the beaches and then we drown them in sand. Sand is their water.
Darwin was on to something. We will never surrender, and they won't either. They'll grow legs and we'll fuck them up.
Speaking of fucked up, that's the craziest thing about Winston Churchill is just why he did all that stuff. He was just drunk out of his mind 24 hours a day. I'm amazed by these historical figures who it's like, I'm running World War II and I am 3 sheets to the wind at all times.
I don't know. Stalin, to me, doesn't seem to relax much.
No, exactly. Maybe he needed to have a drink. Things would have turned out different.
Maybe that's what Roosevelt, eventually Truman, and Churchill, how they fight. Because even, by the end, when they were a united front, it's still like in all the photos you could see. I mean, even at the final conference right before Roosevelt died, where Winston Churchill said he looks like shit about Roosevelt. Stalin made them come to Russia because he had the most leverage. And even in those photos or in the video footage, you can kind of see that they're all shaking hands a little bit. And you're like, holy shit, like England, Russia, the United States are all, but Stalin's just kind of like, Like the other agenda is like so apparent on his face. Like, yeah, I'll help you kill these Nazis that we had a pact with, but a lot of other things are mine.
Zach, I should introduce the podcast, shouldn't I?
Yeah, let's get to it.
This is Idiotalk, an Apple podcast, or when the pod hits the pod app, it plays like a king. What it says every ep when it goes on the cloud, and you'll hear the whole thing, for you let your phone ring. There's no podcast that's better when you're tuned in tonight, so when you have headphones, you choose your own cast. And remember that Glens are the greatest of hosts, and if you listen too fast, then you'll miss all the jokes, but if you wait, it won't matter, because it's in your downloads. Welcome back. This is part 3 of our coverage of Fiona Apple's third studio album, Extraordinary Machine. And I think this is only the second 3-part series we've done on one album. I think we did 3 parts for In Rainbows in our Radiohead season. Right. So I'm glad. I really do think that Fiona warrants the same amount of coverage for a record in her discography. Now, it's interesting because, it doesn't mean that you do the most parts on the album that is necessarily your favorite, but sometimes I feel like, I feel like what this album has in common with the other album we did 3 parts on is there is kind of just as much area of interest in what was left off the album.
Yeah.
On this one, we're going to listen to and cover the Jon Brion version, the so-called Jon Brion version. Now, listeners, in our first part of this series about Extraordinary Machine, we, in exhaustive detail, covered the fact that the studio version that ended up being put out of Extraordinary Machine was completely reproduced, and in some cases, songs were completely re-recorded from the original sessions that Fiona did with Jon Brion. Now, 2 songs on the final version are left the same: the title track, Extraordinary Machine, and the closing track, Waltz, Better Than Fine. So we're actually not going to listen to either of those because we listened to them as they are on the album, but we have the other 9 tracks. So, Zach, have you listened to the Jon Brion version? If so, how far back does your familiarity with this version of the album go?
Yeah. Listening to it today with you will be my 4th time listening to it ever. And that is precise. Well, that's not exact because I know that I had listened to it back in my Chico, California days when I was getting really into Fiona Apple. When I was, this goes all the way back to our first episode, so I won't belabor it. But when I lived in Chico, going to school out there, I was a delivery driver for Domino's Pizza. And Domino's was, and I'm sure is, open until 2:30 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. And you kind of start at the bottom to work your way up, Walker, when you work for Domino's. So you get the late shift, And I just, as I've talked about, that was sort of my rediscovery. Gosh, that was 11, almost 12 years ago now, where I got super, super into Fiona Apple and just her discography overall. And I downloaded a copy of this album and I didn't like it, the Jon Brion version. Because on Pandora, Spotify, and the like, it doesn't seem to me that it's available. It is a bootleg, as you discussed. I don't think it's an overly hard bootleg to find.
No, I listened to it and uploaded these songs from YouTube, but it is not officially released in any capacity, although both separately at times when asked about it, because it's, a lot of bootlegs of very beloved artists, they start to kind of build a mythology. Some people consider this to be the superior version of these songs. And Fiona and Jon Brion have both said, I'd love to do a reissue of the album with as a double album with both versions or something. I think that would be very cool.
Yeah. Oh, but a bit.
But none of that has happened. No official release as of now.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I think it was YouTube. Quite a bit has changed, though, in the intervening 11 and a half years. So I'm not going to say that I spent a great deal of time with it then. I was and am and have been so into the album Extraordinary Machine overall. But I have always gone to the copy that I have uploaded to my phone on Spotify, on Apple Music, whatever, not the Jon Brion version. So listening to it one time in preparation for this was my fourth time.
Okay.
And I kept it that way. I mean, it's like I've had Fiona on. I've been listening to a lot of other stuff that we don't need to talk about, but I wanted to listen to it more. And I think we both do a really nice job of preparing. Well, sorry, sucking our own dicks here already. Walker and I put a lot of effort into. We put a lot of effort into preparing for each episode. But I was like, you know what? I think it'll make. We did that for the album. Like, I think it'll make for a more fun approach to listen to it together without having listened to it 7 times. I've already heard it. I can recall some of the differences. That's all.
I agree. I mean, similar for me over here. I think that when we're getting to do a little bit of a contrast and compare with these versions of the tracks. And so I think that lends itself nicely to a little more of an organic reaction. I've also listened to it. I don't know, to be totally honest, if I had really heard these versions of the songs, because until recently, I've been listening to. I've listened to it all the way through a few times over the. I did, in preparation for this 3-parter. I did concentrate on the studio version. Yeah. But I would mix in listening to this, and it's very, very interesting to listen to this, especially when listening to the final product a lot and having those versions so fresh in my head. But Zach, I knew this thing existed, and I think I thought I had heard it because
me too. I
thought I had heard it, but I don't think I have, or if I have, I've only heard a few selections from it long ago, because most of the versions of these songs are so radically different than the final versions. Not all, but a lot of the Jon Brion versions are very, very different from what ended up on the album. And I think I would know if I was familiar with these songs, because they don't sound too much alike. The arrangements are very different. I feel like it's also, we're saying that some of these sound not finished. They do sound like, I know Jon Brion doesn't believe in demos, but they sound like they're, still in like the kind of demo stage of their process. Some of them sound more fully arranged to me. We can only really speculate as to. Well, I guess we don't have to speculate. This was what they had. At some point, Jon Brion said the album was done. Fiona Apple did not feel like it was done.
At some point, he said that.
Yeah. And she did not feel like it was done. And, and we got the album we got. But I think that I may have heard some of these versions, because I had a friend who would talk about how they liked the Jon Brion versions of the songs better. And I think maybe I heard them playing some versions of these songs, like maybe Get Him Back. One that is different, but maybe not as radically different from the the Michael Elizondo version that ends up on the album. But I really think that if I had heard this more than a few times, I would know, because as covered in our first part of our Extraordinary Machine coverage, as far as I was concerned, based on the, bubble of Bay Area hipsters that I was running around with in 2005, Extraordinary Machine, I thought, was like the Thriller of 2005 in terms of its like cultural impact and ubiquity. So I think that if I heard this, I would have heard it a lot. So it's been very interesting to go into it. I do think some of the lore about this, I do think kind of the more hip take that people maybe like to have is that this is the superior version of the album. Now, for me, comparing these versions, I'll just say, comparing these versions of the songs for me to their final versions, it's a mixed bag. Some I'm like, I do prefer what they're going for on this version. Some I like the more fleshed out, more slickly produced, Michael Elizondo version. And on quite a few of them, I think what I would want in my kind of dream world version of this album is a mix of the two approaches that were taken. How do you feel about it?
Oh, man, I think that's so well said, so I'm not going to belabor the point. I do want to, I'm not asking you to re-edit what I said or anything like that, but I do want to quantify my time spent with this album. So I said this will be my 4th time. I think this will actually be my 3rd time, and I am only going back on this because of the way you described it. So I remember we talked about like LimeWire and Napster, how things would be mislabeled. So I remember... what was the name of it? BitTorrent. I remember BitTorrenting all of Fiona Apple's albums at first and then getting Spotify. And this is so funny, Walker. I remember getting this album and it having the same track twice and it saying JB version and importing that and only having a few of them on my phone. So I had those and because they sounded unfinished and I was not as familiar with who Jon Brion was. I was still a giant music nerd at this point, but I wasn't micro-focused. I was diving into the catalog, right? You know?
Right.
It's kind of like if when you experience Pink Floyd for the first time, once you know that there are 2 different people singing in Roger Waters and David Gilmour, you're totally easy to separate them. When the music's just washing over you, you don't really care, you know?
Right.
And so I do remember. So I think I was being a little bit too... this is my 4th time and blah, blah, blah. I think I remember having several songs that were stacked and maybe even making the assumption that, oh, this is a mislay or this is just like a demo. I did not understand how critical and crucial this partnership was and sort of where it was. But I know that I've heard several of them. And then in the intervening week since we last recorded, I listened to it once all the way through. I did not do it kind of interspersed the way you described. So it is very interesting to have just been experiencing Extraordinary Machine for the last month or so. We've been preparing, if not longer, listen to it once and then be like, okay, cool. I want to give more of a like in the moment. So that's all. I mean, maybe a little bit of an excess of detail there, but I just didn't want to overdo it on the, I've spent this much time with it this many times,
No, I mean, I think that our listeners expect total transparency from us when we talk about how many times we've listened to something. I think it's a clarification worth making. You're almost making me wonder now if maybe one of the Jon Brion versions of the songs was included as like a bonus track or something. Like maybe that's why I feel like Get Him Back is the one I've heard. Now, I have a Fiona Apple podcast. This is maybe the sort of thing I should know, but I would be curious to hear listeners if I am. I don't like the phrase Mandela effect, so I won't use it. I'll say if I'm fabricating a memory. Zach, do you know why I don't like the phrase Mandela effect?
I always feel a little strange using it myself, but I would love to hear why you don't like it.
Well, I imagine that it's for similar reasons.
Because I feel a little strange, I should say.
Because I think it is just such a piss on Nelson Mandela's legacy that we constantly invoke him to describe the sensation of thinking that Count Chocula had a different haircut or whatever. Like it's like people being like, I'm positive that Nelson Mandela was dead. I'm just like, I'm sorry. All you are doing is describing Westerners having no awareness of international events. And I include myself in that. But it's like, to me, a bunch of Americans being like, I'm positive he was dead. I'm like, no, that is just you not caring about Nelson Mandela. And we should
I'm positive birds aren't real and Nelson Mandela was dead. I'm like, fuck you. Go die in a hole.
The birds aren't real thing is actually a
joke. Is that a joke?
It was started as a joke. It's like kind of like a performance art piece. But dude, that's cool. Also though where the concept of the Illuminati was started as like kind of some post hippie performance art articles that a guy was writing, I believe, for Playboy magazine that were intended as satire and now has taken on a complete life of its own. A lot of stuff starts as a bit that gets out of control. Perhaps the whole American experiment was a joke that went too far.
War of the Worlds, one of the biggest intent was to show the unreliable and dangerous nature of radio that was essentially paid for by, not paid for by William Randolph Hearst. That was the real person, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, not Charles Foster Kane. Yeah. William Randolph Hearst had his estate had a huge part in funding the War of the Worlds experiment. That caused so much mayhem as a way of showing, look at this dangerous tool. The written word is where you get reliability and where people won't go crazy. That's quantifiably true too. There was a whole Stuff You Should Know they did on the War of the Worlds. They read it and then they talked all about the backstory of it. And Chuck and Josh have never let me down.
That's so funny. I did
Isn't
not know that.
Amazing.
Zach, I love that you brought up War of the Worlds because before we listen to this, I just wanted to talk a little bit with you about where at the time of this release, we're a few weeks into spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I love fall. I love scary movies.
It's my
this
favorite
is a
holiday.
fun season. Have you been getting into any spooky stuff?
Yes.
You've been getting creepy scary over there?
Spooky, scary. Boys becoming men. Men becoming wolves. Werewolf bar mitzvah. Kailani and I sing that song to each other once a week for no reason at all. Yeah, so the wife and I watched Scream on Sunday, so 2 nights ago.
Our sister watched Scream too on Saturday.
Yeah, well, she asked me if she could could watch it, if she could handle it.
She's super sensitive about scary stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her it's not I was like I said there is some gore, but it's very 90s and more of a whodunit than like a horror movie. And she liked it. I'm really glad because honestly, her tolerance for horror is so low that I was genuinely trying to not lead her astray, but I did not know if she would be able to handle it or not.
I love I love all the Scream movies, actually. I like some of them more than others.
3 is the only one that I think sucks, but I think that it's in terms of its consistency, it is one of the best franchises, and 2 is maybe, you know, it's a little sequel-y, but it's so fun. I love 2, and I love this new reboot section of the series too. 5 and 6 have been fantastic. I've really enjoyed them.
I agree, because 4 is kind of an outlier. I love 6.
Yeah,
I liked
really
5.
great.
I liked 5. I didn't love it. I liked 5. I loved 6.
I would say the same thing. I really liked 5, but I thought 6 was even better.
Do you know what, Walker? Which one I love? 4. I think
4 is
4
great.
is great.
I think they are all great except for 3. 3 is the only one that I've seen twice, and I probably never need to see it again. It's boring. Sydney's hardly in it. The plot is very stupid. I don't like 3, but
no, but our in terms of like our game of I feel like they would like me, our people we don't know but we feel like would like us, Matt Gorley and Paul Rust, they do a great expose on why 3 sucks, and that a lot of it had to do with post-Columbine, because it was pre 9/11, so they had to crank down the violence a lot. And they talk about like kind of like Extraordinary Machine, what a great movie it could have been. But I don't know, because I do think that there's some cool ideas in it, but it's just so tame. But that's not what we're talking about. So we watched Scream 1. Love that movie. It's just become a Glenn family household classic. And last night we watched The Exorcist, which I would say is not my favorite, but is a favorite movie of mine. Not even in terms of scary movie season, but this is probably only my 5th time, maybe, watching it. And I know that it has to be 5 or under because of the amount of things that I forget about when I watch it.
Yeah.
And
did you watch the theatrical or director's cut?
I watched the theatrical. I have seen the director's cut.
The theatrical,
and I like it.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But the thing that if somebody was like, describe The Exorcist before last night, just in terms of events, I would remember Max von Sydow's front and kind of bookended sections. I would remember the rally at Georgetown that, oh my God, she's still alive today. The actor who plays the mother.
Eileen Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn, yeah.
Is it Ellen or Eileen?
Oh, I thought it was Ellen, but
I tried. I think I confuse it because her last name is pronounced like Burstein or something. So
yes,
it's like,
yeah. The rally, the movie within the movie, essentially. I would remember that as a part. I always forget about the party. And to be honest with you, I forget that she is a upper middle class, well-to-do actor, which is such a cool choice. And William Friedkin, I mean, it's just like, I haven't seen all of his movies. He has sort of a smaller catalog of work for being, anyway, I don't mean to go down such a rabbit hole. It's such a good movie. It is so much more than just the scares. I don't know how deep you want to get into it. I will tell you, though, I bought the novel by William Peter Blatty, and it's supposed to arrive on Friday, and I'm almost done with my current read. And I really am excited to read it because there's a YouTube channel I love so much that has, I would say, the gentleman who makes content for this YouTube channel has a theory on The Exorcist and what its more metaphorical story is about, that before William Friedkin died, responded to it on Twitter, responded to this gentleman's kind of dissertation, for lack of a better word, about the film on Twitter. And William Friedkin despised people armchair analyzing his films. And he responded, this is one of the only things he responded to via Twitter. And he said, interesting, with a link to this guy's video. Yeah. And it's not, it's not saying that the guy's theory is not The Exorcist is a analogy for 9/11, it's nothing like it essentially postulates that Reagan is exhibiting behaviors of a child who is experiencing sexual abuse. And that the reason why
I watched it was super interesting. Zach sent it to me.
Oh, good. Okay. I remember sending it to you. I couldn't recall. Yeah, it does do that. I really like Walker's
I like
critique.
it much better for a theory of what's going on in The Exorcist than I do in The Shining. I don't really,
yes.
I kind of reject it for The Shining, even though I do think he makes very interesting points.
Yes.
To me, in The Shining, the evidence that he points to for it is kind of like the evidence for all unifying theories about The Shining, which is like, it is
Jack
opaque enough that, what's that?
Jack looked a direction.
No, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's like that silly. I don't think it's like not, silly or not well thought out. It's just that it's just like that's the power of that movie. It is a screen upon which we can project what we want to be the movie to be about.
Well, and as much as I love this gentleman's this YouTube channel, as much as I love his analysis and his theory on both The Shining, and he has multiple theories on The Shining, but predominantly the one that Jack is sexually molesting Danny, and in his theory on The Exorcist, I should say his theory is that Burke, no, not Burke from Aliens, Burke, the Roman Polanski-like director friend who dies in the beginning, is the one who has assaulted Reagan. That's his theory, and this YouTube channel, we'll put it in the notes if we keep this. I should say he has videos in which I do not like what he has to say, listeners. I'm talking about this isolated, but he is a social worker in England. He's a child psychologist, so he actually has a lot of evidence. Like, here are the behavior. The biggest one being when Reagan urinates on the carpet,
right, which happens right after the party,
right,
in which that character is drunk and stumbling around their house
and missing for large chunks of time.
Yeah, and when we see him, he's being very inappropriate.
So I want to pass it over to you because you've seen the movie more. But I did just want to say the reason why I bought the source novel. One of the reasons why is because in this YouTube channel, he talks about, he's like, compare the book of The Exorcist, which was not written that long before the movie. William Peter Blatty, I think, served as like a script supervisor or consultant. He's like, it is so much more leaning into the demon possession. And I think, and the thrust of his theory, if I'm summarizing correctly, which even if I'm not, I'm giving him a huge boost. I mean, this podcast, it's conquered the world over. Yeah. No, this guy has millions of subscribers, but he's saying like, compare and contrast the book. The novel is written from a Catholic perspective of demon possession is real. It's still scary as shit. And so he says, and I think whether you believe in that stuff or not, I think it can be done really effectively, just like the movie does. But he's like, I think the movie, though, is taking it kind of like The Shining, whatever you think The Shining is about or not, is taking this Kubrickian or Friedkin filter to give you something much more complicated.
Right.
And
like I'm going to take a ghost story and make it an analysis of like the American family or alcoholism or an abusive genocide. Father or the genocide of Native American. And it's like, we'll take a boilerplate demon possession story and make it about all this other stuff. I think that's rad.
But whether we keep everything I said or not, can you speak on some of what I just talked about?
I mean, well, I love The Exorcist. I don't know that I've seen it more than you have. I have probably seen it 5 or 6 times. I think it's a movie that I saw for the first time probably like maybe a decade ago and found it very effective, and then didn't watch it for maybe like another 5 years. But I would say for the last 5 years, it's become a like once a year kind of type of movie for me. So yeah, I would say I've seen it 5 or 6 times.
When my movie taste was opening up, I didn't move out of my parents' home, listeners, until I was 20 years old. I transferred to college, and that's okay. A lot of people live. So my taste didn't really open up until I was 21. And this was a movie that I was like, I could have watched it my last couple of years living at my parents' house, I'm sure, but religious household, blah, blah, blah. So when I moved out, this was in the first 5 films of like, I got to see The Exorcist, But my experience matches that relatively. I would say I watched it. It had an impact. 5 or 6 years went by, and then it's been within the last 4 or 5. I don't know if that matches what you said or not, actually. But
I honestly think I'm able to appreciate it more now, because you mentioned, like, in passing, you said whether you believe in that stuff or not. Like, I love horror movies. I don't think like that supernatural elements in horror movies. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of neutral for me. But it's definitely not a hook for me. It's not going to stop me from enjoying a movie, but I do think that it can be, if it's not done super well, it can be something that makes me check out maybe quicker than if it's just a sort of like thriller situation or like stalking and murdering type of thing. Like,
you even see that within the Conjuring series, like 1 and 3 are kind of better than 2, or I don't remember if that's exactly how it goes, but
for sure,
even vary within a series.
But I do think that maybe with like more years removed between me and my religious background, I'm able to enjoy The Exorcist more now, because I do kind of find the devil to be one of the less scary concepts in horror fiction. Just and
like
even
the
in the
demon she's possessed by, more or less, or
or just that when you're in a horror movie and you start getting to the bottom of what's going on, somebody goes like, it's Satan or whatever. I'm like, like I've always, but even in the. But the thing is The Exorcist is a movie that you watch and you're like, oh, it is inventing all the tropes for demon possession. Like the contortion and the layered voice where it sounds like there's like a bunch of multiple voices talking at once. And my favorite one, and the one that I find funny, even in The Exorcist, not funny in a way that takes me out of the movie, not funny in a way that makes it less effective. But the thing that I find funniest about the devil in all demon possession movies, and especially in and probably invented by The Exorcist, is how dirty and sassy the devil is. And that's where the movie feels really Catholic to me, is it's just like, the devil comes down to earth and possesses a human being and does cusses at you, is like the funniest thing to me. And then
What
even
are some of your favorite cusses?
well, even the way that you first find out that the devil has like come to, where are they, in like Connecticut or whatever?
They're in Georgetown, which is
DC.
a suburb of DC. Yeah.
Okay, right. So it's like the beginning
Very,
of the
very
chain of
well-to-do
events, right?
area.
But the first like fucked up thing you see is the person goes into the parish and the statue of the Virgin Mary has like a big bloody wiener. And it's just
like pointy tits.
Yes, and I think that shot is very disturbing and very effective. Like I'm not like taken out of it, but it is also funny that the devil, like I just love what a like trickster he is, that he's like, she has a wiener and it's got icky blood on it. Like it's a very like kind of 8th grade like heavy metal kid conception of what evil is. It's just like, can you imagine a thought so terrible of if your Virgin Mary had a big wiener? Like, like the devil's just coming down and like drawing like hentai.
Well, yes. I was talking about this with my landlord of all people yesterday, though, because my landlord is a super cool lady. We've been tenants in her home for almost 6 years now, and it's just, there's boundaries for sure, but like she came over to like measure some blinds or something, and we always just like sit and chit chat about, and she loves horror movies, so this was like a really like fun kind of just like fun sit down, and we were and I was like, Jenny, I'll say, Jenny, Kai and I are going to watch The Exorcist tonight, and I was like, the thing that just strikes me so much though is I do think a lot of the like hysteria that was in, self-induced, that they had like paramedics walk her at showings of the film because people were freaking out or were passing out rather from shock and all that. We are still in America, a very, very Christian nation. Like it or not, that is reality. And it's where we come from, and I do say like it or not. If you like it, great. But like, I cannot imagine what watching that movie is it 1973?
Yep.
I mean, it is pornographically violent at some point.
It's shocking.
It's shocking. And I've seen so much stuff in movies that have tried, and I think it does go to that less is more in a way. You don't see you don't see below her waistline when she's mutilating her genitals with a cross, but what she's saying and what it's implying is really shocking. And I would say
it is fairly graphic, even if it doesn't show the area. Like, I mean, it's like I don't
want it
graphic.
to. I don't want, or even before she does that, I think this is where the movie really succeeds, is how human it is. Like when Reagan, when they first acquaint, and then I'll shut up because I don't want to just describe The Exorcist. But like when they first get the psychiatrist rather, and Reagan is wearing like a little girl kind of nightie, basically, and to the psychiatrist and to her mother, she's like, "Fuck me." I'm like, ugh, oh God, no. Ellen Burstyn's reaction is saddened, horrified, shocked, confused, brokenhearted. You don't want your 12-year-old to be saying that. Yeah. And I think that's what makes the movie so scary and so good, is the reactions of everybody are so human and believable.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
That's all.
It's a great movie.
It's and I was even thinking about like when she thinks there's rats in the attic pulling that thing down. I'm like, not only is this concept in Hereditary, the very shot is in Hereditary of her going into the. So yeah. Anyway, but I love The Exorcist. Maybe we'll get back to it on pod of how I thought of the book. Maybe not, but I'm really, really excited to compare and contrast. I appreciate you letting me, Walker, go on such a long rant.
Of course, though, dude. But I know that we both love how sassy Pazuzu, which is the name of the demon possessing Reagan, is. Because I told Zach we were talking about this movie recently, and I was like, Pazuzu kind of has like drag queen energy, where it's like, I'm big and brassy. Like, yeah, like it's
I'm
like,
pissed.
Yeah,
I'm late.
Yeah, it's like, try to cast me out, honey. You can't get rid of Pazuzu. Bop, ba-da-da, bop, bop, ba-da-da. There's a part where I'm obsessed with, like, there's a part where Zach's dying.
I'm gonna have a heart attack. Sorry, go ahead.
You know you love to hate Pazuzu. Pazuzu, like, legit good drag queen name.
I know.
But Zoozoo.
Oh yeah.
But
what was
like,
the part you were gonna say?
oh well, it's like a small part to where I've like have other people keyed in on this, but I can't ever really find, because everything under the sun has been gifted and memed and everything.
Sure.
But I never really can find that anyone's done anything with this. But it's become, how you like, you watch a movie with your significant other and you key in a little part, and then that becomes shorthand that you use outside of any context of relating it back to the movie.
Sorry, did you say your significant other, your significant brother?
Well, both in this case. You can't spell significant brother without significant other.
I know.
But there's a part where just like the sassiness of the demon, when they first bring in, I guess the Exorcist is Max von Sydow, but or I guess
the priest?
No. I guess ultimately it is. What's the name of the priest though? Who's like the main,
the Greek gentleman?
Isn't he Italian?
No, he's Greek.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the tired priest who is, kind of in his crisis of faith.
Yes. Uh-huh.
What's the name of that character?
Keep going. I'll pull it.
In any case, the young main character priest who is the one dealing with this possession until they call in Max von Sydow.
Father Karras.
Father Karras, okay. An actor who I love his performance in this movie and have never seen in anything else, but I really, really like him. But when he first goes up to visit Regan, and it's like, I think it might also be the reveal of her being fully what we think of as the Exorcist demon. Like her face is all cut up and really discolored.
Changed.
And so it's the first time when we see her like, in this fully deteriorated state, and they have Reagan's hands and feet tied to the corners of the bed. And he sits down and is like, hello, who am I speaking with? This is not exact dialogue or whatever, but he's being
it's pretty close. Yeah.
He's being very kind of non-assuming and not and just feeling out his dialogue with this demon. He's not even convinced it is a possession at this point.
Right.
And he sits down, and the demon is like just giving him like major stink eye, and then throws open a drawer without touching anything, right? And he goes, how did you do that? And the demon like laughs, and then he goes, do that again. And the demon goes, in time. And he goes, show me. And he goes, in time. And I'm obsessed with the way it's very, like, in this very, like,
not
did
a
you
cow.
like to know?
I'm not a dog.
Yeah, it's very
I'm
like
a demon.
when you are told to stop, like, touching your sibling, and so you put your hand like a quarter of an inch away from them and go, I'm not touching you. And it's like, and so whenever I'm kind of like being sassy about somebody asks me to do something, I like to go, in time. And that is really how they say it. Should we get into the album?
I think we should.
Okay, so we have 9 tracks here. Like I said, the first and last track of the studio version were unchanged. Go back and listen to those. And just once again, if you're jumping in here, it's a strange place to jump in. Probably not too many people, but we cover in great detail the whole origin of these versions of the song. So go back, listen to part 1, listen to part 2, and then you'll be able to compare these. So, Zach, I have these tracks just in the order that they are on YouTube, which I assume corresponds to how people got it when it was going around as a bootleg. So it's not the same order as the studio version. It starts
come on,
off
Walker, please give us something familiar. Go ahead.
It starts off with Not About Love. So this is Not About Love, the Jon Brion version. Already different.
Yeah, we should note too,
No
listeners,
drums.
if there's a quality differential, this is not. There's nothing wrong with your phone or anything like that. These are the best versions we can get.
These are from YouTube.
Yeah.
So already we've got no drums and we have what sounds like a string section. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Are still arriving on my floor. And it doesn't seem fair that your wicked words
Now,
were
I think
holding me down.
that this is the same piano and vocal track that we hear on the studio version. I'm not positive about that. But all the vocal inflections sound the same to me.
Conversation once colored by esteem became dialogue.
Zach, I think this is super cool.
I'm in the music so much more. But this is the big asterisk to all this, The Walker, is that I think I prefer this version. So I'm naturally just going to go more positive. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
You prefer this version of Not About Love?
Of most of the songs. I'm just going to tip my hand right now.
Okay.
I don't think it's better. I don't think it's the album that should have been. But because I hear so much more of Fiona, and I do agree, I think the thing we overlapped the most on, whether we like some songs more than others, was the drums were overpowering. And because I feel like Fiona is guiding the song. And there's a lot happening musically, piano and strings already, but I just like, I'm more in touch with her vocals on so many of them.
Yeah, this right here. Listen to this. Wait.
Sure.
Ah, I love that.
I love that. Yeah, Phantom of the Opera, come join the song for a minute.
I'm not in love.
This is one where I prefer the Jon Brion version. It took me a few listens to get used to this because I think Not About Love is. I mean, I think it's pretty well covered. That we actually think all the songs themselves are great. There's maybe a couple songs that we were like, it's good. It's not the best Fiona Apple song, but I think that out of an album of really strong songwriting, I think Not About Love is one of the standout songs. Both versions.
Yeah.
Even though I felt that, like right here, I don't
like
know
this
if I
as
would
much.
mind if it kind of incorporated. I mean, I like the double track vocals.
Well, see, I don't like that as much.
I think that maybe the last minute of this song, I would like if maybe it incorporated some of the drumming that is on the studio version. But overall,
this was
I
the
like
song
this
where you
better.
said he's playing it like Ringo should. You said that in our episode because the drums match the vocals. So at the moment of the double tracking vocals is where I'm kind of like, yeah, I like I like the final version better.
I don't know. I actually don't know if I'm convinced of what I'm saying. I guess I'd just like to hear it. I'd like to hear it. But I just think that the kind of rhythm of her vocal during the "What is this posture I have to stare at" section is so rhythmic that it's what a cool album.
Oh, that was cool.
I just think that it's nice to have the kind of fast talking that she's doing matched with the drums. But if you only could take one version and you're not able to combine any of them, I do think the Jon Brion version serves the song better.
I agree. I don't feel that way about every single song, and I think I may have said that I sort of more or less do. So I just want to walk that back a little bit. But on that song, I do.
That one, very, very different in its arrangement. Speculating that it's not completely re-recorded, like I said, other than the double track vocals. It sounds like the same vocal track to me, and I don't know, and it sounds the exact same tempo, so it would not surprise me if it's the same piano track. This next one is one where this is a totally different song than the version that ends up on the studio album. This is the Jon Brion version of Red, Red, Red. more string section. Red, Red, Red on the studio version of the album is one of, I would say, the prettier songs.
Yeah.
And this is a very dissonant.
Sinister.
Yeah, dissonant and kind of scary. Talk about spooky season. Red, 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 the color of blood. But I do think the vocal melody is the same, which is very interesting. I feel like you hear this in some Radiohead songs where they will, you know, especially on
different.
Kid A and Amnesiac, they'll record something with Tom at the piano or on the guitar and then put a completely different bed of music under it that fundamentally changes what the song is, but the vocal still works.
Like Spinning Plates.
Like Spinning Plates being a prime example. This is one, Zach, where I think this version is awesome. I think the version that ends up on the album is awesome. They're so radically different. I really like both of them for what they are. This version would not fit as well on the final album. I don't know that I have a preference. They're so different. I think they're both awesome. I might slightly prefer the studio album version, but this is so cool. What do you think?
You know, Walker, I feel like this would be so cool if this was a live version. If she played it live like this somehow.
I like that.
You know, because I agree. I think especially on the kill myself, that was the part we both, you know, went crazy with when we were listening to it on the... I'm recalling from memory. I haven't got a chance to listen back to our Extraordinary Machine final yet. I just remember us really enjoying that moment. And this was one, I think this was a song that you did compare to Radiohead again, where you said that it's like the melody is kind of hard to find because there's not a lot to guide you. And I love that.
Yeah, it's more deconstructed, I think, than anything else on the final album.
So, like, hell, maybe Fiona Apple's doing a show in October, you know, in the year 2006 or 7 or something, and she plays it like this. Like, that would be fucking sick. I do think the album version produced by Mike Elizondo is not superior. It works better for the vibe of the album. But this is so fucking cool.
I mean, that's the thing, too. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, that's the thing about this Jon Brion version, too, is there are tracks that I like his version better, but it would make the album, an album that I would say already suffers a little bit from being all over the place. It would make it completely nonsensical in terms of its sequencing.
That was cool. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting to me, Zach, is how much darker the Jon Brion version of this album sounds. That is not what I would
we had some rhythmic differentials there, too.
I mean, I think there's a lot of emotion to his music, his soundtrack work, and his production on the albums that he helms. But I mean, it kind of, and this is a little bit like, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking or whatever, but it kind of is like the fact that he begged to make this album because he was going through a horrific breakup. I'm like, you kind of hear that in the sounds that they're doing here.
Yeah.
You know what I would also say too, what overall I like better about the Jon Brion version, which is, again, not to say that I think it is overall superior, but just something it has that I don't know if Extraordinary Machine, as it was released, has as much, is it's just representative of a more out there direction, which I feel like we do get from Fiona Apple. Not necessarily that it's the same as what is here on these Jon Brion tapes, but it just is a little bit more of a avant-garde sensibility to the songs that doesn't end up on Extraordinary Machine. We talked about, I kind of always took the position of like, oh, you know, it's really slick, but the studio made her do that. But I think as we kind of got into the research, she had control over what they put out.
No
ultimately.
deadline, listeners. That in itself is so unique.
Yeah, and I don't think that it is bad to try to create a new entry point in your career for fans who have been intimidated by what you've done in the past. But I just love that she seems to shed whatever commercial instincts remained at this point on her next couple albums. And this album sounds more like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shall I go to the next one?
It is still her XO though. I'm not latching on to the point that it sounded like we may be separate. That's not my thesis of the album. Jokes aside, maybe some would find it disrespectful to compare an album in Fiona's catalog to an album in a male artist catalog. That's not where I'm coming at it from. I do still find this album to be her XO, tying into your point of the commercial viability is all. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah.
So,
which is its own form of experimentation. That's the thing too, is it's just like, it's really no less experimental for somebody who has had their first two albums be as odd as Fiona's first two albums are to consciously try to play with something that's a little more commercial and maintain the essence of who you are in your music, like to maintain your artistic integrity, which I very much think is maintained on Extraordinary Machine. I just think the results are a little stronger when that is less of a consideration.
Dude, fucking Sgt. Pepper Lonely Heart Club Band. Like, yes, was that a tide turner? Is it my favorite Beatles album? No, it's not. Does it have some of my favorite songs? Of course it does. The impetus though was like, hey, I'm kind of burnt out on this like 60s but even though we are redefining popular music as it stands and inventing blah blah blah, the Beatles weren't thinking that at the time. That is part of the beauty of the Beatles, is that did they have egos? Of course they did. But like part of the impetus of Sgt. Pepper in the 6 months that they took off between their last album was, let's reinvent ourselves and let's do it in a kind of jokey commercial fashion. There are Beatles historians that summarize that and would probably critique the way I even made that point, but it's not so binary, right? It's not like I'm going to become Britney Spears or I'm going to do a Radiohead's Kid A or something. Even Radiohead's Kid A is a great example. They fought internally with what they wanted. We talked extensively that Tom York was obsessed with Aphex Twin, who, is kind of like Fish or something, and that it's like he's a household name, but he's not. He's more of a household name for like music nerds, right? So it's not as if when a band tries to commercially redefine or when they go in a different direction that they're not thinking about commercial viability. We love to romanticize the fact that they said fuck it, they being any band, and then made this thing that that people in math. Oh, Kid A turns 23 today, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's all. End of
well,
point.
they want to keep making records. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think a big difference between Fiona Apple's albums after Extraordinary Machine is that the record industry fucking falls apart. And
was falling apart.
Exactly. This is the last gasp of like, you need to move physical units.
Yeah.
And that's your job. And so anyway, let's get into this. This is the Jon Brion version of Get Him Back.
Oh, and this is a high point for both of us on the album version, if I remember correctly.
No, you don't like Get Him Back. You were I feel like you disliked Get Him Back almost as much as you disliked anything on the album.
No, so you're right. So I am misremembering. My objection to Get Him Back was that it becomes too repetitive, even though I like the initial hook.
Totally. And you weren't as huge of a fan of the what you described as the benefit of Mr. Kite kind of sound.
You're right. I was mixing it up with in the album the song after Oh Sailor.
Now, this is one where I like that little like elephant walk sample. I like this version better.
I don't really care for either version of the song that much.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that because I just like this version because it just sounds like a stripped down and more straight ahead version of the song. And the part I don't like in the studio version is in this bridge right here, or this pre-chorus, whatever you want to call it. It slows down to a breakdown tempo and puts all this delay on her vocals. And I like that this one is leaning into what I feel like is a humorous, not frivolous, but like it's somewhat of a silly song. Like, I think this is a funny song. And I think this arrangement just lets the statement of the lyrics and the melody and the piano speak for itself. The drums are way less intense, and there's not all these production frills on top of it. I wish that this is one where I would say you should just slot this version into the studio album.
Well, you know, it's so funny, Walker. I love everything you just said. Why I was like, oh, no, I like this song. Oh, no, you're right, I don't. Is because this is one of the songs in my preamble when we did our Extraordinary Machine Part 2, where we listened to the tracks. This is one of the songs, though, where I said, even with the songs that I don't like, there are peaks and valleys. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's hard for me to say, like, I don't like either version of this song, because some of the vocal lines she does, her runs,
right,
you know, are so tasty. But this song becomes repetitive in my mind on either version. And that's all. Yeah.
If this album's your XO, which I think is her XO, which I agree with, because the way I take that is that it is a lesser work by one of my favorite artists that I still think is great.
Hell yeah. I agree.
You know, that's how I feel about XO. Is I'm like, it's one of my favorite albums. It's one of my less favorite albums by my favorite artist. Yeah, and so even the songs that I'm like, I don't like this one as much, I still am finding like great things about.
Oh, I love what she's doing vocally here.
Yeah, I just think this one it's just straight ahead. It's just, they're just playing the song. And the production flourishes on the studio version sound tacked on to me. They kind of, to me, undercut the confidence. They make it sound like they didn't think the song was good on its own. And I think this version sounds like it believes in the song.
Yeah, and it's cool that they got Billy Preston to do a couple piano fills too, you know?
I know, it does really keep bringing in that boo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh, see, like Walker, I fucking adore this part on either version.
Yeah, I think this is another one where I don't think the song was re-recorded. I don't think the piano and vocals were re-recorded. Because these...
Oh, I think
this is all... Because this is... I don't think she would record this part exactly the same both times through. It sounds improvised.
And they do fuck with her voice a little bit, though, on that falsetto. They put some delay on it, huh? So it could be the same one. It just sounds a little more raw, like you said.
Zach, this next one is Better Version of Me. Now, will it be a better version of the song? One that I think we both declared possibly our favorite on the studio album, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one other song that is not on the Jon Brion version because it was just recorded in one take. Well, I guess she recorded it, I think, during the Michael Elizondo sessions even maybe, but Parting Gift is also not on here, which is, I would say Better Version of Me is possibly my favorite of the more, shall we say full band, full produced songs. Right. And then Parting Gift is my favorite solo piece, perhaps up to this point in her career, although it's hard to say because Never Is a Promise and Love Ridden are also perfect songs. But in any case, this is Better Version of Me, the Jon Brion version.
Yeah, and you're really hearing that muted trumpet and the low notes on her ukulele.
This opening is very Pet Soundsy. And then what we're hearing now is very Pet Soundsy, I would say.
And in that John Lennon being for the benefit of Mr.
We're kind
Kite.
of back
Magical
in
Mys-
Circus Town, aren't we?
Yeah, Magical Mystery Tour maybe a little bit. I am he as you are. maybe. I don't know.
I like this sort of like plodding drum beat on the low toms. I think it's cool. This is very different. Different vocal.
Uh-huh.
What did I do? The games that I can handle.
Can I be honest right off the top?
Yeah, please.
I like the album version of this song.
This is one where I like the album version better.
Yeah.
I think this is super cool.
I agree. I don't know if lengthwise, if there's as much. It doesn't hit. This song is so goddamn hooky in a way that I love.
Yes.
And the hooks don't get to me as hard on this version. And I think that has to do with that it sounds more demo-y. Yes, we know the irony of that statement. Jon Brion doesn't do demos, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the hooks just don't penetrate for me as much. It's still a cool song. But I'm referencing the album version in my mind to like this one, Walker.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think it's super cool. I think it's a really rad B-side version of the song. But I agree. I think that this is one, we talked about it. I think that, and I like the double track vocals. I think it's cool.
It's hot.
This version is also a little more repetitive. It doesn't ever change the beat. Like, this part slows down on the album. But I think that the really slick
right
studio
now?
quality of the final version really serves what the song is about, which is like I'm in your face with how great I'm doing now, and it doesn't quite hit as hard with the strange kind of circus bell chamber music vibe of this one, although I do think it's really cool.
But what are we missing, though?
We're missing that crazy guitar solo. That
That's
guitar
my favorite
solo
moment
that
of production.
sounds almost like horns. It's so cool.
Yeah, it sounds like Rat-a-Tat jumped to the studio for a day or something like that. And it's like, that comes out of fucking nowhere. It's like I was talking about with The Exorcist, where I'm like, I know it so well, but then there's just these or anything you love, where you know it, but because it's so good and unexpected, it still makes your heart jump. And for I feel like this song is missing a lot of that. Not just the guitar solo in the hook of Fiona's melody. I don't want to keep repeating myself.
Now, I don't want to recapitulate the criticisms that we went through ad nauseum on the last episode, but I do love, for example, in the end of the studio version, when at that ending, when it goes into the breakdown with the drums, do da da do, it comes a bit of. I love that. But even better version of me, a song where I do think the slick production works really well for what kind of a song it is. Like almost every song on the album, I guess I wish it was the studio arrangement or the Michael Elizondo arrangement with Jon Brion ultimately doing the final mix, because again, I thought that I had a problem with the arrangements on Tidal, but then when I heard these really big full band arrangements on Win the Pawn and They Don't Bother Me, I feel like the difference is that Jon Brion knows how to more tastefully mix those in a way that understands the star of these songs is Fiona Apple's vocals and lyrics. And that gets a little lost. So I like the Michael Elizondo version better. I think it's more fully realized and more suited to what this song is, but I wouldn't mind some elements of what Jon Brion was going for in this version, in that final version.
It's like, do I mind Joe Biden? Do I hate Joe Biden? No. But ultimately, I'd prefer Obama at the top of that pyramid than Biden himself, you know?
Sure.
Not a controversial statement at all.
This is the Jon Brion version of Oh Well. Another favorite of mine from the album. Zach, was this one a favorite of yours on the studio final studio version?
I really, really, really... This was during the suite of songs that we both agreed were kind of more or less our favorites.
Now, I haven't listened side by side to compare, but is this slower? It's already a very slow song, but is this a little bit of a slower take?
I'm going to say yes, it is.
Barely, but it feels a couple beats slower, right?
It almost feels like do you ever put something on slower playback speed on YouTube to like play along with it or anything like that?
Sure.
It feels like almost not organically slower, like they put it on 0.75 because it's so barely detectable.
Well, maybe they very sped it up a little bit on the final version because Paul McCartney, the Beatles, have done lots of songs that we're hearing on the studio albums that the Beatles put out are like being played at 13% faster or something.
Lady Madonna.
There you go. I think this version is awesome. This is one where I think I don't really mind the frills on the Michael Elizondo version. It's not incredibly fundamentally different than this version, but I think that Jon Brion's instinct to keep it basically bass, drums, piano, vocals, I think it works great for this song, and I like this version a little better.
This is the song where you went, that is how Ringo would play it.
Yes.
Right?
These fills. But so there's still even some strings. It's just less heavy.
Yeah.
It's less. I just think this is one of the more successful final versions on.
Oh, it's so
it's
good.
not that different, actually. The more that I'm hearing it, but it's just more tastefully mixed and slightly less overdone. I think this version's better. It's very close to what ended up on the album. Oh, see? And then the horns stand out a little better because there's not all the other strings and harp and stuff. There's a harp on the final version. This is better, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree it's better, and I feel like it just goes along with everything you just said. Sorry, listeners. Pardon me. I feel like the vocals are the star of the show a little bit more. And that is just brought forth by being a little bit less distracting with the musicality. It is different.
It's also a drier vocal. I don't think there's as much delay or reverb on her voice either.
And just to invoke the boys again, not the show listeners, but Radiohead. That was fantastic timing. There is a Radiohead album, Hail to the Thief, where the mixing is not to our liking necessarily. I think the difference, though, how I said, because...
it's so good! I'm so dying over here.
There is one Radiohead album where the musicality or the instruments are overpowering in a way. How good the songs are not, it doesn't... There's no alternate version of Hail to the Thief, and I don't want there ever to be. But, in general... when the musicality is distracting in a Radiohead song, it's because you have a world-class bass player in Colin Greenwood, John Paul Jones level, Paul McCartney level. You have Johnny Greenwood, who there is no comparative guitar player to. You have Phil Selway. You have Ed O'Brien providing his textures. So the difference in comparing those two when the mixing isn't to our liking, with Fiona, it's a little bit more simple in my critique in that I'm saying the musicality is overpowering the vocals. In Radiohead context, when that happens, I don't mind it as much, even though they haven't done that as much, because what is happening in the instrumentation is so interesting in itself. In our issues with the Extraordinary Machine, it's like, yeah, I like good drumming. Questlove is beyond a savant of talent on some of the songs, but it's like, to have Fiona Apple's vocals overpowered by drumming is bullshit. Yeah. And I feel like you just don't get it on that song, which is why it's superior. You don't get the overpowering. Did I land that?
You did. And okay. I think it leads... but that, so far, I gotta say, that version, I did not even realize this before, but that is just stellar. And again, it's not one where I think they mess it up based on how it is on the album, because I think that it's... I feel like I've jumped around, but I feel like Oh Well and Temps and Better Version of Me and Parting Gift are probably my top favorite songs on.
But we haven't listened to Temps yet, right?
No, I'm just saying the album, the album as it exists.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Oh Well is compromised too much from this version, but it is just they do add more stuff and they do add more effects to her vocals, and I think it's perfect the way it is in this version. Because when you get to her growling out that "what wasted unconditional love," first of all, I could cry. It's so emotional and just like full of feeling and pain, and man, do I feel it.
It's reminiscent of Win the Pawn, of growling like you're in the room with her. Sorry.
Yes. This version is more organic, and I like it. It's the best thing we've listened to in the Jon Brion version so far for me.
Sure.
I would say it is maybe what we just listened to, that version of Oh Well, I think I might like better than every other thing that is on the final album.
Got it. Yeah, totally.
You know, that's just so perfect. That is just so perfect. It's hard for me to compare overall version to version as which I like better, just because, as we've already gone over, I think the final product is a little more successful. Quite a few of these, I think we like the Jon Brion version better. Mixing those together would not be a cohesive album. So it's really kind of just cool that this exists for you to be able to listen to both versions. Now, Zach, Oh Sailor is coming up next. This is one where I really like Oh Sailor. You're not big on Oh Sailor. Let's see if you feel different about it with the Jon Brion version. This is one for me where on the Michael Elizondo version, I really love the song. I really love some of the production choices. But it's one where the big drums are a major issue for me. But I love the song. You did not love this song.
I mean, I was kind of touched, though, when we were listening to it, because I was like, I don't like how repetitive. It's leaning into a type of Fiona Apple songwriting that feels like it could be, like, you know, written in, like, Gaelic or Runic or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, you know, like, just hundreds of years ago, this, like, poem or like, Beowulf or something, you know, or whatever, that at its roots is beautiful. But I think it's just, and she doesn't have a ton of songs like this, but I do think that Extraordinary Machine represents a style of writing that I'm sure she had within her, and I'm probably just missing, but that we do see on The Eye of the Wheel and Fetch the Bolt Cutters. And I can't even put my finger on it, on what I'm trying to say stylistically of the type of song. It's just not my favorite Fiona Apple tendency.
Yeah.
But
would you say it's slightly overwritten? Is that what you feel like?
Yeah, a little bit. But then what I think you said, again, I haven't listened to the episode back, which is fine. But how you said something to the effect of, like, is the sailor a personal reflection, though? Is it not about, oh, sailor, this man or this person? Is she narrating it? And that really, really just goes to show the power of talking about music with people you love and respect, you know? Because I was like, God damn, that's cool. You know, made me kind of rethink, like, do I have a problem with the lyrics, you know? And then, do I love the melody or the song musicality? No, not necessarily. I do not hate it. But it made the things that I don't love about it, like, made me rethink those things, at least.
I love that.
And I have listened to this version, and I don't find it to be that much more interesting or attractive.
Okay, well, fair enough. So for me, this is the ultimate kind of, like, wish I could mix the two versions together one. Because I like what the drums are in this version 1,000 times more.
I get that.
Way subtler, way better placed in the mix. You had called out that you found the stop-start thing kind of tiresome. I think that is way less obtrusive in this version, even though it's still doing it. The drums and piano still halt together, but because the bass drum and snare are not so front and center in the mix, it doesn't feel as in your face of a choice to me. But I really miss the vibraphone in the chorus that echoes her vocal melody. I think that is a really, really nice addition in the Michael Elizondo version. And then when we get to the coda, it doesn't have the kind of counter melody version of the chorus that she does in like a harmony with herself on the final version. And I that's a favorite part of the song for me. So this is kind of lacking from some of the flourishes that are on the final mix. But I also think it's way more tastefully arranged in terms of drums and bass and how that they are playing to the piano and the vocal rather than kind of against it.
And isn't it ironic, Alanis, though, that it's missing the vibraphone, of which I think Jon Brion provided all the playing of the marimba and the vibraphone on Tidal, and then is the producer on When the Pawn. And yet, and that's what makes this feel unfinished to me, even though I really like what you're saying about the drums being less obtrusive and abrasive. The vibraphone is what is added in the Mike Elizondo version and what you kind of like. So it's just...
There it is. It comes in on this chorus. It's real low in the mix, but listen.
Okay.
Here, after she says this.
Oh, yeah, I hear it.
It's there, but I think the decision to have it in every chorus and bring it more forward in the mix is a good one.
Sure.
I like that roll too, just there. That drum fill is cool.
And listen, Mike Elizondo, I don't have his resume in front of me. And Brian K.
But it's a lot of pop and hip hop.
A lot of pop and hip hop. So I don't mean it's like, Jon Brion, while being a hugely unique talent, he didn't. He's not the first person to suggest. But I would say, Walker, it's unique to hear the vibraphone and marimba as much as we do in pop music, as we do in Fiona Apple's catalog. So I don't mean to chalk up the addition and use of that so much to him. Yeah.
So I'm missing that part here. Do you know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Ruining this. Sorry, listeners.
No, the song is still
I
too
just
long.
love that little outro, that it changes the melody. So do you not have a preference on these two versions? Just not your favorite in either case?
No, I don't. The song is too long. It's leaning into a tendency I don't like. It's better than anything I've ever thought of or will write, but I don't like it.
Well put. I like that.
It's not embarrassing, as we talked about on our Radiohead season. It's like when we were talking about Atoms for Peace. Like
it's one of your least favorite things from one of your favorite artists. I totally get it.
Like,
you're judging it on that scale.
Embarrassing U2, though, is different than Radiohead that I don't like.
Right.
Same with Fiona. That's all.
I get it. All right, this next one is called Used to Love Him. Now, I don't know if listeners who are unfamiliar with this version are picking it up yet, but this will later be re-recorded, rearranged, and renamed as Timp's The Sick in the Head song. Different vocal, different melody.
Can I just say, I strongly prefer the album version of Timp's, which is near the top of my favorite songs on Extraordinary Machine.
Zach? I agree with you. But I think this is cool too. Similarly to Better Version of Me, where I think that they get more to the meat of what the song is supposed to be in the final version. I think this is really a really cool alternate version. But it's interesting because I do think this Jon Brion version, he's leaning much more into the kind of freaky circus.
It sounds like a Tim Burton song.
It's very Tim Burton-y.
It's too much Tim Burton. It's like, where's Fiona? I'm picturing in a dark world where you could go to all the holiday doors. I love it how it's, that's done. On the album version of this one, it's like I'm hearing Jon Brion banging a bunch of talented and with maybe, I don't know.
I mean, to me it sounds like a dark carnival, but I think that's cool.
Right.
It reminds me a lot of the Smile Sessions, the Beach Boys Lost.
Oh,
album.
yeah.
Like where it's just like it sounds like it's like happy music made by an incredibly deranged person who doesn't like, you know what I mean? It's like what am I thinking of where somebody like dresses as a clown and they think that people will like it, but it's like or it's kind of like Joker, right? It's like he's like trying to like, it's like, oh, this is me doing a nice thing, and everyone's just like, you suck and we hate you.
The Joaquin Phoenix version?
Yeah, right? Like, wasn't he originally like trying to like bring joy when he was dressed as a clown?
When the gun falls out at a children's hospital.
Yeah. This sounds like that to me. In a good way. I mean that as a compliment, but I like the final version better.
Right, and you hate the movie Joker, so.
I do, but I'm saying in its intent, it reminds me of, it sounds like a consciously made choice to be like, we're making what a disturbed person thinks is a nice song. I like that kind of music.
I like that too. Or like we talked about with, have we brought up Radiohead? No, we haven't.
And we won't.
The inversion of the musical palette of a song like I Might Be Wrong, where the music is really sinister, but the words are kind of like, fuck it. You know, let's go down the waterfall, have ourselves a good time. Like, that is a really cool thing to do. And Fiona does that on both versions of Extraordinary Machine. Some of the more upbeat songs, or even the opening track, in my opinion, the way it's so not machine-like driven, it's so organic sounding, there might be a bit of irony there. This version, to me, really gives me, for the benefit of Mr. Kite, a song that I like, but I don't like that version.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's creepy, and I'm glad it exists. Again, like I wish that we got this with more albums, and they still release deluxe versions of albums all the time and stuff. But I love outtakes. I love different arrangements. It's so fun to get to look at the funhouse mirror of, what an album could have been. And I think this is really cool. And I think that if Extraordinary Machine had ultimately been more of what Jon Brion's vision for the album was, I think it would still rank really high in. Right. But I mean, ultimately, I think that the reason Extraordinary Machine has not fared as well in my reevaluation as it did in my memory is just because of the amount of competing visions that there were within and outside of Fiona Apple for what this album could be. It's just suffering from, I think, too many cooks ultimately. Yeah. And if it had been one thing kind of from the beginning, it might be a little more successful. This is a very different version of a song that ends up on the final album. This is the Jon Brion version of Window, a song that I declared to be my least favorite on the final version of this album. Let's see how the Jon Brion version fares. Now, do you hear that kind of wind chimey sound?
Yeah.
Is that a steel drum, do you think? What is that?
Oh, I mean, I don't know, but I think it could be. Can we?
Or is that a marimba? Marimba?
It does, because it had too much. It had too much musicality to it to only be a steel drum. Was the only thing that I was confused by.
Well, steel drums have pitch.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just to back up, though, you declared this to be your least favorite song, and our mutual critique was that it's hooky, it's cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. What I remember, though, is that we said it sounds like Fiona Apple was commissioned to write a song for the live-action Little Mermaid.
You did, and I thought that was incredibly astute. It's a Broadway villain song. For sure.
Yeah, I guess we didn't say it in unison, but we more or less agreed. And you were saying, like to show Toonie or whatever, I think. And and I like those songs. I like it when does Jafar get a song? I don't know, but I like it when Ursula gets Ursula's song in the animated Little Mermaid is fucking fantastic. Right. And that era of just Disney songs are incredible. I don't know that I want that in my Fiona Apple music, just like I don't know that I want to be like, is this a Tim Burton movie in my Fiona Apple music?
Sure.
So it's a really, and I think you said like the melody might be a little bit too accessible. I don't know that I agree with that as an objection because I think the melody's really fun. But
I found it a little boring, frankly. I found the melody kind of repetitive and a little bit uninspired. Even though it's really catchy, it really gets in your head, but there's just something a little uninteresting about it to me.
So how do you feel about this version?
Like it way better.
Why?
Way better. I think that stripping this one way down makes me appreciate...
Did Rick Rubin just enter the room?
I think that taking away a lot of the frills on this one makes me appreciate the hookiness and accessibility of the melody a lot more. And now, what's different here is it goes right into another chorus. This is where the horn solo is on the studio version. I do think that you should still have some sort of musical break here.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe guitar instead of horns, though.
I think the horns would be cool. I really like the horn part. I think it's like a very Rolling Stonesy kind of horn part.
But the horns is what gave it so much irony. That was the moment, I feel like, where we were like, this sounds like Ursula's song if you went to see Little Mermaid on Broadway.
Yeah, it's a little broad, but it's still not my favorite song. I still think that it sounds a little bit similarly to how you just said it's better than anything I'll ever do in my whole life and I don't like it. I feel the same way where I'm like, this to me sounds a little bit like she wrote it in 5 minutes and it's better than anything I'll ever write. But I just think it's like one of her less challenging pieces of work.
I agree. It sounds like it could be on Tidal, an album I love and I rank amongst the best debut albums.
See, I think everything on Tidal is way, way weirder than Window.
Yeah, maybe not.
Including the most commercial song on the album, Criminal. I think is way more interesting than Window, either version. Also, gonna repeat myself again. Like the drums way better on the Jon Brion version.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that vocal flourish right there is great.
The vocal flourish is
I like that.
Or like, I don't know if you've seen Tangled, but like this feels like
I have seen Tangled.
Mother Knows Best.
Yeah, great song.
Great song. Absolutely great song.
Mother knows best.
Yeah, I guess
Mother and boy. Remember the Mother Boy song?
No.
Do you remember in Arrested Development where the Mother Boy convention where this Mother and boy, Mother boy.
We can cut this, but what is the Arrested Development joke where Buster is trying to convince Jason Bateman's character why he's grown up, where he's like, and the doctor said, no kissing on the mouth for a week. And I said, make it 2. Do you remember? And Michael goes,
but that's hilarious. In the Mother Boy episode, there's also the part because the whole thing of that episode is Lucille is ashamed to appear with Buster at Mother Boy because of his hook. And they dressed in a dual costume every year for the last 30 years. And then when the way she finally accepts him is she's Peter Pan and he's Captain Hook. And it shows them with a trophy. And he goes, well, I finally feel good about myself. And he points at the trophy and goes, saddest. They got the award for saddest.
I love the whole convention with hands that it's a real sword, master. And
it's a real sword, master is a quote I say once a week.
When they when Dan Castellaneta reattaches Job's fingers, but he puts them on back.
Switched for the first time ever. Whenever Ollie is bossing me around, I always go, it's a real sword, master.
He's like a master. All right,
silent slave. Zach, we only have one song left.
All right. Perfect.
This is Please, Please, Please. The song,
Put it up
if
your
you recall,
fucking
in time. Do you know what she did? Your cunting daughter? Slower, I think.
I don't know, bro. I think the drums, when you take off the drums and you add a new track, it can really change the tempo.
Okay,
I don't
listen
think so.
right here to this chord. I just wanted to point out the kind of off note in the that dun 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 dun. You don't really hear it in the final version, and I think that's because this is a very over-arranged song on the final version. Zach, this is a long way of saying there are some flourishes I really like in the final version. The theremin sound I really like, but this is one where stripping it back to me, you hear what she's playing more clearly. The vocal is standing out more. I like this version better.
Well, I agree with you, Walker. The theremin, that moment with the theremin in the final version is what almost makes it my favorite track on the album, even though it's not. And I know the lore of this song was that she was like, all right, fine, I'll add another song. We talked about how ironic that is for us personally because of how fucking catchy and awesome it is.
Yeah.
But I agree with you because the piano stops and the please, please, please breaks, it feels like in the final version. This one feels like she's in a flow, which is why I like so much more. And it has that Lady Madonna quality of da 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 da.
I know it. She's really doing quite a jangly walk on the piano, and you don't really hear that in the final version.
Steady going nowhere.
Yeah, like the piano. This is where we have it. Woo. But
Yeah,
okay.
I would put that back in. I mean, I think that works, but I wouldn't really change anything else. And I love the bass line in this song. And that sounds pretty much the same here. But this strips it down like it did with Oh Well. It's like this song is piano, drums, bass, vocals. And I like it.
Man, and dude, and I happen to know a guy, and when I say know, I mean know of a guy who plays a theremin adjacent instrument. Say it with me, Walker. Not Jon Brion.
No.
A fellow we call
but Ed
Johnny
O'Brien. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that would be rad to get the Owens Martineau on here.
Yeah.
And I like the staccato thing she's doing with her voice there. It's different than it's a different vocal on the final version. I really think it might be a little slower. I won't swear to it, but it sounds a touch slower to me.
The drums are more tasteful.
And I think this vocal's a little more playful. Also, I love that lyric. I don't know if we talked about. It's such a Fiona self-empowerment lyric. My method is uncertain. It's a mess, but it's working. I love that.
Right.
So many of her songs are like, leave me alone and let me do what I do. I'm good at it. And I love that.
I talked about how I felt a little bit of an internal tug of war about loving the song so much because it was commissioned. The studio more or less said we want another song because this was a single.
I don't think it ultimately
was. No, it wasn't.
But that was the request, was we need a more obvious single.
Right, and she was not happy that she had to do that, but then I'm like, but the result is so good. And I am not coming at this, I don't know. Like, when we wound up our episode on this album, that was the last song, correct?
Yes.
When we wound up our episode talking about Extraordinary Machine track by track, so part 2 of this now 3-episode suite, I said something to the effect of, like, not to be devil's advocate for the studio suits, but like they accepted the fact that she didn't have to have a deadline. Like, how much retrospectively, not knowing the people, not having been there for the meetings, is it like, is it unreasonable what they were asking of her? Or is it an unreasonable thing? Now, if they came at it from the request of, hey, girl, we need you to write a girly pop song or some bullshit, like, yeah, fuck that. But I don't actually think that it's like you contrasted the Jon Brion point for me, where I said, like, I don't think art should come from needing to heal somebody else. But you're like, but at the same time, Zach, sometimes that push you need. For me, it's like, I'm kind of like, that song rules. And I really like both versions of it. And I love the irony of it. And I don't think that people in corporate positions are usually looking at art in that way of like, and people even not in corporate position, you can't know the result so much. But I love what the result of that was. I feel a little guilty because she doesn't like that song, but I love it.
I think I really have nothing to add. I totally get what you're saying, because it's like you always want to take the side of the artist, but you know, like I don't think Fiona Apple is one of those artists who doesn't have a clear perspective on her work, but some of my favorite artists are those people. Like, it's like Bob Dylan is somebody who, it's like, I don't think he has a clear sense of what his best work is. And if you see him live, you can tell, because he's like, I'm going to play Positively 4th Street, and I'm going to play this song about Lenny Bruce that I wrote in 1985, and I'm going to present them as if they are equally influential pieces of work. And it's kind of like, well, I love that for you, but what about us?
Said RuPaul, right?
Yeah, that's cute for you, but what about us, or something like that?
Yeah. Which I love that too. Do you have another? That is such a stellar. It's fine. That point was really well made. Are there other artists that don't know their catalog?
Woody Allen, I would say, is
he loves
somebody
his 90s bullshit. Which is
he's somebody who hit, like, what he says his best movies are, I think, show a lack of understanding of
Sweet and Lowdown.
his own work, but also he's somebody who never rewatches any of his movies.
Sure.
So he doesn't revisit his work. I don't know. Who else doesn't know what we like about them? I feel like there's other directors that are less, loaded examples. But,
it's totally okay. It was just such a well-made point. I'm just not the biggest Dylan head. I love Bob Dylan. He's been a later in life discovery for me, but the catalog is so vast. So I've not gotten around to watching a lot of his live stuff. I just think that was hilarious and such a well-made point. And I don't think Fiona falls into that category. But like I said, just a little bit of a contentious relationship with that song and with Criminal a little bit. Because Criminal was sort of the same, and those are not my two favorite Fiona Apple songs, not even from those albums. I just do find it interesting wanting to take the side of the artist, and I would say taking the side of the artist in almost any delivery system. That song is a bit of an outlier for me, where I'm like, this song rules. And I'm glad that I hope they didn't mistreat you in the way they made you write it. I'm glad that you were commissioned to do so.
I just think she needs space to like figure out the work on her own. And I'm really excited to get into the next album because, do I wish that we got a Fiona Apple album a year? I guess if that's how she worked, but not at the sacrifice of her achieving her artistic and creative vision for these albums. I'm so excited to get into the next one, but I really did enjoy getting to fully re-immerse myself and reassess Extraordinary Machine. It just plays differently now than I thought it would. It always will have a special place in my heart for being the way back in to my fandom of this artist and getting to, claim her music as my own. That sounds weird. Not I wrote these songs, ladies and gentlemen. No, I just mean, when you really form a personal connection.
As a musical artist you love. I get it.
But 3 episodes of covering Extraordinary Machine. I am really excited to get to the next one. But Zach, mirroring the arc of Fiona Apple. Now, we already mirrored the arc of her first hiatus by doing an episode about the hiatus. But I think we need to mirror the arc of the second hiatus. This came out in 2005. We don't get another album until 2012. That is a longer hiatus than there was between albums 2 and 3. We are going to mirror that by taking a little bit of time off, listeners. Unfortunately, podcasting is our passion more than it is our day job, and life is life. we got stuff going on right now, but we are so excited to get back into this, and we will be back on Friday, November 17th. So don't worry, you'll have some Idiotalk to get you through your trip back home to see her. When mom and dad start talking politics at the Thanksgiving table, you'll be able to say, excuse me, I need to go listen to the Glenn brothers talk some goddamn sense here about Fiona Apple.
Wait,
but
is
Zach,
it Thanksgiving after November 17th?
Yeah, it's the week after. So I'm saying you'll have episodes, regularly scheduled episodes will be coming out.
Sure. Got it. Okay, got it.
During the holiday season. But yeah, so we're taking a few weeks off. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to about the hiatus we have to take here, Zach?
No, I think that was really, really well put. And I the only thing I'd like to add is just, maybe this is backdoor bragging and maybe not, listeners. I mean this sincerely. It has been so cool to see, and I'm not just talking numerically or anything like that. Like, that is kind of how you measure success of a podcast. But the engagement we've gotten, a few notes, few emails, and I will just say a lot of new listeners for this season. And that is cool. That makes this project feel, exciting to know that people are out there engaging with it and listening to it and all that. But kind of putting that to the side, it is just like, I'm very appreciative that people are taking the time to listen to us gab about music and gab about life and stuff, because we just love these artists so much. And yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And, we do put a lot of work into these episodes. It doesn't feel like work, because I think part of that, mirroring the arc, but not even in a silly or joking way right now, these artists have put so much into these albums for us as fans. It's kind of the least you can do, right? Mm-hmm. To learn about it and try and give something to the people that share that love. What has been such a blessing for me and made me feel so excited is the few, but more than one, notes we've received from people that were big fans of our Radiohead season that said, I have not listened to Fiona Apple before, and I just got her first 3 albums. Or I was on the fence, but really enjoyed hearing you guys talk about Radiohead. That is so cool. And I'm not trying to overhype it. Fiona Apple, she's not internationally famous. She has a huge fanship in here in the United States, and in a little bit in Canada, and a little bit in the United Kingdom. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't surveyed, but she has a much smaller audience than Radiohead. So it is really, really, really cool, whether it's been one person, 5, 6, 10, or whatever, that we're spreading the good news, right? And I say that with absolute humility and a lot of gratitude to people that have listened. This project has been so much fun, but I just really appreciate that. That's all.
I love all that. And yeah, go back and listen to episodes that you may have missed. Well,
plenty to catch up on.
yeah, while we're taking some time off. And Zach, to answer the question some listeners may be asking right now of, oh my God, when will I get new Idiotalk content? Even though I already said the date, I want to answer with something that we talked about in the very beginning of this episode. When will there be a new Idiotalk episode? In time.
And that's all we got.
Yeah. Answer me, demon. In time.
In time.
Listeners, thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll talk to you again in a few weeks. Enjoy the rest of spooky season. Go watch something spooky. Listen to this on a brisk fall walk wearing a turtleneck. We'll be back with our coverage of The Idler Wheel.
I know. Jesus.
I have been Walker Glenn.
I'm Zach Glenn.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Idiotalk is a Glenn Brothers production. Get in touch with us at idiotalk.podcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at idiotalk.podcast. Thanks for listening to